Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Every once in a while, we have to bring out the big dog.
Yeah.
Oh, God help us. It's time for Danny Unleashed. Sponsored by Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. Go to eastonroofing.com for more.
Yes, indeed, it is time to talk to our man Danny Clinkscale, brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing. Joe Spiker and his great team will be happy to take care of you and your family the way they've taken care of my family, the way they take care of Danny's family. Easton Roofing. No payment collected until you're 100% satisfied. By the way, they take credit cards and PayPal as well. Project manager on site at every job, residential and commercial roofing. In fact, their commercial roofing doing great work these days. Check them out, whether it's for your home or your business. 913-257-5426. Find them online at eastonroofing.com. We just had more bad storms, and listen, if the hail and the ice was kind of weakening your roof, but now that downpour we had yesterday, you realize, I got a problem. Free estimate, free inspection, and free estimate. That's what you can get with Joe Spiker and the guys and gals at Easton Roofing. So call today. Happy to help you out. If all you need is a repair, they're happy to do repairs. A lot of roofing companies don't want to do that. That's not the big profit margin. Easton Roofing just wants to make sure your roof is as sound as it can be, and, of course, able to do everything digitally, electronically, safely, at distance. They want to take care of you and your family. They want to take care of their employees as well. That is Easton Roofing. It is a real reason as to why the statement is integrity matters. At Easton Roofing, integrity matters, serving the entire metro, including Topeka and Lawrence. So call the office today at 913-257-5426. Best of Houses Award winner, 4 straight years. Angie's List Super Service Award winner. Great reviews on Google. You're in great hands with all the guys and gals at Easton Roofing. Danny Clinkscale joins us here in the program. Danny, how are you, sir?
Doing well, Soren. Just so I don't forget before the end of the show, in listening to Jim Sturk yesterday in his Final Four, I can third. You said you needed a second on a couple of those. I think it was before the coronavirus, but we watched all of Schitt's Creek. So and it was great. And it's really a funny show, very funny show.
All right,
so
I'm gonna have to do, because I just finished Breaking Bad, and it's such an upbeat family kind of show.
Oh yeah. This one's funny, and I think they did. It actually just wrapped up. They did 5 years, so you got a lot of episodes, and it gets better as it goes along too. It was good at the start, but it gets better.
Those two will always be funny to me.
What, the Levies?
Yeah, I agree.
And Catherine O'Hara and the whole great stuff.
Well, his son.
Well, Breaking Bad, I think was it 5 or 6 years? Like
it was 5 seasons.
Yeah.
Four seasons with 13 episodes. Does that sound right? Or maybe the first one only had 6 or 7.
Yeah, the first season only had 6 episodes.
And then it was 13 for the next 3, and then 16 in the last one.
Sounds right.
And so, yeah. So, you talk about the family all coming together there at the end, right? It worked out real well there in the Breaking Bad. So, Curtis, did you see Breaking Bad?
I have not.
Oh, okay. You're just chuckling.
I've heard enough of it that I know what you're talking about.
Danny, have you seen Breaking Bad?
No, I haven't, and I probably won't. But like I said, it takes. If I was going to do 5 years of a show, it'd probably take me 5 years.
I think even with that few episodes,
it wouldn't take me that long. But
some episodes, some shows are like 22, 23 episodes. Law and Order, all those things are.
I won't watch
6 weeks.
Not I won't, but I can't imagine sitting around and watching 5 or 6 episodes of something in one day or something like that. I like I said, during this process, I've kind of learned that 2 is my limit. Maybe if it's a half-hour thing, 3.
I knocked out 15 years, the first 15 seasons of SVU in about 6 months.
Wow. I don't have that kind of time.
That's also being single with no kids.
Right, exactly.
I dusted off the last 4 Breaking Bads. It wasn't my intention, and it made for some yawns early in the evening the next night because I think I wrapped it up at like 3 something. But I got going, and I'm like, what am I going to do? Am I going to say I was going to save the last one, and I'm like, oh, come on, you're right here. Let's go. Here we go. Let's finish this thing off. It's really good. Breaking Bad is really good.
Yeah,
I still like Ozark better.
I kind of have to find a ground where if we're going to watch a series or multiple things, that it's going to be my wife and I are going to watch it. So
no chance of that happening in my house.
And no chance that she's going to watch Breaking Bad. I don't think so.
No, that's why it's always late night, because I have to wait till everybody's gone to bed, and it's like, okay, it's cooking shows and stuff like that when the kids are up, and then it's some news maybe with the missus, and then after that she's like, all right, I'm done. Like, okay, here we go.
That's usually Netflix. When I watch sports. Actually, that's one reason
I
don't binge, right? But so a lot of comedy, a lot of music documentaries, like I said last week for me. So
I watched last night. I was like, okay, Breaking Bad. I finished a couple nights ago. I watched Pete Davidson's stand up.
Yeah, he's funny. We watched Ray.
He's not.
I tell you what,
you didn't find it funny?
The previews for that movie look good.
Not nearly as funny as I presumed he was going to be, because to me he brings very little to Saturday Night Live. And so I'm like, he must be the funniest stand-up guy, and they're just waiting for that to turn the corner. And I'm like, no.
The previews for The King of Staten Island look pretty damn good, though. At least to me they do. They always.
What is that?
It's a movie going to be streaming, I think, in June.
Okay, maybe it will be good. I don't know. I might give it a try. But I
found that dark comedy.
I know how these things are shot. You do 4 or 5 performances wearing the exact same outfit, and then they piece together the best reactions from the crowd and your best off-the-cuff one-liners. I know how they put these together, and there are several jokes that bomb.
Well,
and he gives a little,
That shouldn't
happen. And I'm like, then this thing swung and missed. Or it's like, hey, the COVID's coming. We may not be able to have another show. And he's the one guy who got screwed, and just it was a one-take wonder. But usually these guys do 5, 6 shows of the same material, and then wearing the same outfit, they grab the best stuff.
Yeah,
because you can look in the audience. You'll look in the audience like, that guy's not sitting in the middle. Where's the guy where's the big fat guy?
Chris Rock's he did 2 nights, and you can tell in certain crowd shots there's a different group on the right side. Sure. And that woman got up. Oh no, he's 2 nights wearing the same shirt. He did it over 2 nights. But they came out and told you that at the beginning.
We watched Ray Romano's newest stand-up, and it was funny.
I watched Seinfeld.
Seinfeld's was great.
It's terrific.
That was fantastic. Yes, I don't know who it was, but I ran across somebody who didn't think it was good, and I'm like, well, I guess I don't have to know you ever again.
I guess we'll never talk.
I guess we'll never speak, because clearly
were they younger?
I'm not quite sure. I can't remember.
Because there's no change to his style of humor.
I thought he was a little edgier this time, actually.
A little more Carlin-esque.
I thought he channeled a little George Carlin in there.
Yeah.
The other thing that he did, that he actually cursed a little bit. Until this stand-up series, I can't ever remember him cursing on stage.
So did Romano.
What did he have, one S-bomb?
That's one more than he used to have.
Yeah,
I know, but I
usually never cuss.
Ray Romano had some rather fairly blue material in his, actually.
Not exactly Bob Saget blue, but No,
good Lord, no.
Uncle.
He was just making
Uncle
a point.
Danny, what are you saying?
He was just making a point of getting away from that silly show he hosted for millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah, nobody's worried about Bob Saget during the COVID. I think he's going to be just fine. All right, Danny, what do you want to dive into first? I've got a list of things down here for you.
I think you could just go to whatever list you point in any list you like. I'm an open book right now.
Okay.
I'm ready to be unleashed on anything.
Well, I didn't know that the Power Five was going to ask the federal government to get some laws together so that they can clean up the mess they've created.
Well, that seems to be a thing that's going around in a lot of areas of our world these days. So I think I've said in this platform before, if you have to go through 2 months of tough times and your economic structure crumbles to the ground, it's your fault. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Now, if you're a small business or you're a person working paycheck to paycheck, that's where the federal government steps in, I believe.
That's what the federal government is there for.
Right. safety net for people who, really can't. I mean, they can't put things away for a rainy day. They're operating a business that's month to month and paycheck, or they're working paycheck to paycheck. So, no, not somebody who is salting away record profits in 2019 and then suddenly is crying poor in 2020. And that's sports or anywhere else.
No, I'm 100% in agreement. And, there is, well, that's far enough down that road.
Right.
Or my real opinions will start coming out. Look, but from a Major League Baseball standpoint, what do you make of where we sit now with the because this is what I had at the top of the list because I figured you'd have some thoughts on this about where we sit with the showdown right now between the owners and players.
I think this is a calculated effort on the part of the owners who know that their offer is crap, but they also know that in the court of public opinion, given our uncertain times, that the players are going to get no sympathy, none. They usually don't get much, and even though in this case it's a pretty egregious cash grab for a bunch that has made record profits over the past 4 years, meanwhile sucking the life out of the free agent market during that same time span, is now asking for the players to help them out. I mean, it's bull, but what I think I can actually see them sitting around in a meeting and saying, this really isn't fair, and it's going to get us, maybe in trouble down the road. But we've got the court of public opinion heaped on our side, and we're not seeing talk about finances in any other sport. I mean, barely a whisper of it as these people are working their way towards coming back and playing their sport. And only in baseball are we fighting over dollars. And it's a terrible look. And I think the owners knew that, and they're willing to gamble because they're not going to be seen as the bad guys, even though it's a joke what they're trying to do.
Do you think the players will stand firm?
Yeah, I think they will, and I think that's going to be a big issue. I think that we have a real possibility of not playing baseball because I think the owners are willing to not open the doors to play when they can't open the turnstiles. They were going to take some economic hit anyway, and so I think it's a big. From a week ago when I said I thought they would get together and play ball, I'm less optimistic. I still think maybe cooler heads will prevail because somebody's going to finally say, this just looks so bad. These other leagues are about to play, or they're playing. I mean, we're getting a lot of action starting now. Golf's less than 2 weeks away. Premier League's June 12th. La Liga's June 7th.
The NBA is sprinting to a return date of July 31st.
The NBA is at Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah, the NBA, thankfully for them, the NBA and the NHL don't look like they're on the horizon for real soon. But if you pay attention to the wide scope of sports, then a lot of leagues are playing.
Is that just because the NBA and NHL, or let's deal with the NBA because the NHL hasn't put a date out there, so who knows, maybe they'll shock us and say, hey, we're going to be back on the ice on the 20th. But is that just because they're going through the same growing pains? They just don't have the public tantrums that Major League Baseball does? I shouldn't say growing pains. Same labor pains and same payment pains that Major League Baseball is. They just don't immediately run to the television to get their point out there?
I think the cooperation level in other sports is much better than it is in baseball. So, yeah, are there probably some things that have to be ironed out? Are there some differences as far as compensation are concerned? I'm sure there are. But first of all, they're being smarter about it. Second of all, they have a better spirit of cooperation. And frankly, I think that if you want to just get goofy about it, I think the NBA's real, a big part of why their cooperation level is so great is they were the first league that just said, weed is fine. And we're not going to kick you out. We're not going to, make you sit out games. And our policy for testing and everything else is just going to be an absolute sham at first, and then they just said, well, it was a sham, and now we don't even have it. And I think the players really appreciated that. I do. I mean, they're of a generation that's part of their lifestyle, and they if they can do that and play their games, I think they said thanks, thank you. I think it really helped.
Smart league.
I think it absolutely was a big part of why there's so much cooperation right now.
Jed has a pillow in his rec room that it's like crocheted. Weed is fine.
Is Michael Jordan the only minority owner in the NBA?
I believe that sounds well. There might be a minority owner who's not African American.
Yeah, who like Shad Khan is Lebanese.
Right,
he's the only non-white male owner in the NFL.
Right. So
Michael Jordan is African American.
Right. And top of my head,
Jeannie
I don't.
Buss.
Right.
Jeannie Buss is technically the head of the Lakers. She's a white female.
Yeah. Do we have any Hispanic owners in the NBA? I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I mean, just because I don't know the nationality of the name Fertitta down in Houston.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a couple of names I could look at, but largely my point is this.
Right.
Without a doubt, the vast majority, if not almost all, of the owners in the NBA are also white males. Why do they seem to get it more than and by the way, old white males, plus one old white female and one old African American, off the top of my head? Why do they get it so much more than the old white males that own baseball teams?
I think basketball has always been more of a, probably can't think of a better term, more of a kind of hip sport, and people who are involved with it are used to more of a city culture, a cooperative culture, racially, I think. So I think that, and not that they, weren't behind as well, but, one of their first powerhouse franchise became that because they were ahead of the curve embracing having African-American players. So I think that probably helped. I just think you had some more enlightened people there, and then you in David Stern, who was a great commissioner, and then his right-hand man became the next commissioner. He was pretty young when he became part of the NBA and is still relatively young.
From an article in 2018 in Money.com said that the Kings owner is Indian American, Bucks co-owner is Moroccan American, and Michael Jordan. Those are the three.
There you go.
So who is the Moroccan?
Bucks co-owner Mark Lassery.
Okay. And then Jeannie Buss is female.
Yeah.
So so they've got 4 of 30 that aren't white males.
Yeah.
But they seem to be able to get along with their players much better. I mean, I don't know. It's intriguing to me, and I do get because I used to kind of laugh off the KUMU. It's ingrained. It goes back 100 years. It's like, yeah, when you do start telling a kid who's 2 years old, like, we don't like Kansas, boo KU. I mean, you do. It's just like teaching them racism. I guess that's there, and maybe that's what it is when you get into the MLBPA. But you're 20 to 25 when you get into the MLBPA, and to be taught the owners suck. Like, aren't you a little bit more like, I got to see this for myself, right? And likewise, if you're an owner, you're in your 50s, and so they all at least, and so the other owners are like, yeah, players suck. Okay, well, let me experience it for myself. Like, I just don't understand why it's so bad.
Well, because, I mean, they got ahead. The baseball union got ahead of the curve. They never succumbed to a salary cap. They were strong at every turn. They were willing to, for better or for worse, and it was worse for the game, but better for them, give away a World Series. They've struck more. They've been locked out more. So, I mean, I think every step of the way, we really haven't gotten to many periods of labor peace in baseball. I mean, I just think if you were a player entering the fray, you would have been hard pressed to be in a pocket where there wasn't acrimony between the two sides. And sometimes
Danny Clinkscale is with us. Sorry, go ahead, Danny.
No, and most of the time, I think it's probably been on the owner's side fault because they were trying to fight for things that everybody else had in sports. But I think there's been a couple of occasions where the players were at fault too. Although I think mostly it's ownership trying to grasp at things they're not going to get.
Yeah. Danny Clinkscale is with us. It's Danny Unleashed, brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing. Listen, nobody needs the added stress of worrying about the roof over your head. There's nothing more essential than absolutely having shelter, right? That's what the roof over your head does. Strong thunderstorms pounding its way through the Midwest, as it always does. And, of course, there are a lot more to come. If that roof is getting old, if you're already seeing some signs of wear and tear, let my guy Joe Spiker and his crew at Easton Roofing give you a free inspection and, if needed, a free estimate on any repairs or a new roof if that is indeed what you need. Don't make false insurance claims. Don't be pressured into doing something because somebody knocks on your door and says, "Oh yeah, we'll get the insurance to pay for it." False insurance claims are bad news for you. Don't let it happen to you. Call Easton Roofing at 913-257-5426, online at eastonroofing.com.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
We're here with Joe Spiker, the CEO and president of Easton Roofing. And, Joe, you had a great year in 2019, a record year. 2020 comes, things are moving smoothly along, and then the coronavirus comes. But your company seemed to be very ready, very proactive, and very ready to serve your customers well.
Yeah, we adopted social distancing very early before the cities even put out the notices. And we started working from home. We are largely cloud-based as a company, so that transition was easy. Our technicians are wearing masks and gloves, and salespeople are not meeting with homeowners. We're doing everything digitally and doing everything we can to do our part to get over this as quickly as possible.
So for any needs that people have right now, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Well, you can always call us, 913-257-5426. But the best way is to go to eastonroofing.com, put your information in, and we'll give you a call.
Easton Roofing. Integrity matters.
Who was the first rookie to start at quarterback in a conference championship game? There have been 6.
Oh.
Well, Ben Roethlisberger did it, but I assume he's not the first.
He was the 4th.
Was David Woodley a rookie when he started?
I think he was second year.
Yeah. Mahomes, second year. Dan Marino?
Nope.
No, he went second year.
They lost in the divisional playoffs. Big upset in '83. Lost to Seattle.
Of course they did.
Rookie. Give me a year.
1976. Notable play. Well, didn't have a phenomenal NFL career, but he played a little bit. He was on TV a lot.
Oh, he was on TV a lot, huh?
Noted for, I think, his play at college as well. Let me see. Did he play in the same city from pro and college? Yes. He went to the same.
Pat Hayden?
Pat Hayden.
How about that pull?
Pat Hayden in 1976.
That's good. I was like, same city. Boy, and I was starting to think, okay, let's think UCLA, but I didn't get there fast enough. Or let's think UCLA, USC, and I didn't get there fast enough.
The others, Dieter Brock.
Wow.
Sean King, who was 43 today with the Bucs.
Well, Dieter Brock
was 43
years old.
Yeah. Well, they listed him as the first-year guys. I mean, we want to say 5.
Well, he was technically a rookie, but he played the CFL.
It was the only year that he played the NFL. He started in the conference championship game and then never played again. Sean King was the third one. Ben Roethlisberger, Joe Flacco, and most recently, Mark Sanchez.
Not bad.
So a couple of USC
Sanchez,
guys.
That's right. I forgot about Mark Sanchez doing it. That's brutal.
Went back-to-back.
By the way, Good Sense, what we were playing for, go to goodsensesubs.com, put your order in. What time do you want it? They'll have it ready for you. Good Sense, baking the bread fresh twice each day, the meats and cheeses sliced fresh right in front of you. And you love this. How about this? The subject of Good Sense came up when I was over at my in-laws. And you know what my mother-in-law said to me yesterday? You know what we get a lot? You should try this, Soren. They've got these meals that you can just take and go. And I just sat there. I said, oh, really? Is that right?
Those words have come out of my mouth 500 times.
Yeah, you can tell my mother-in-law, big fan of the program. Spends a lot of time listening to the program. I'm like, you mean like I've been talking about for like 2 months? But there it is. My mother-in-law endorses the Good Sense meals to go, the Good Sense to go. You grab and go meals, everything you want. Grilled Alaskan salmon, pot roast, lasagna, chicken and veggies, meatloaf. They're wonderful pasta dishes like the pasta with meatballs or the chicken Alfredo. You can get those right now. Just grab them and go. You put them in the microwave or I don't know if it's the mic or not. I think you can do mic as well as like the oven, however you want to do it. Put them in there. Got the sides. Got everything you want. Just heat it up, and you got a complete meal. Mother-in-law endorsed. Mm-hmm. That is the Good Sense to go. Get them right now. Go to goodsensesubs.com. Make sure you're a part of that loyalty club. You get 10% back on your next order. So it is a great way to be basically getting a 10% off coupon every time you go. Go to goodsensesubs.com to put your order in today. Founded in Lenexa was the Good Sense Subs. Danny Clinkscale is with us. It's Danny Unleashed, brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing.
I've got something for you, Soren. I got something that's going to be in my bonnet. Finally came to a breaking point this morning. On weekdays during the time I work out, it's a fallow land down in my basement on television. You know, for me during a workout. So often I actually do watch the Get Up program with Mike Greenberg and his assorted cast.
I like the program.
I think it's a pretty good show too. But my God, could somebody just call the other person by their name? Greenie, Sea Dog, J. Will, Joe Blow. I mean, come on. I mean, on every single and also
What's
clearly,
weird is
clearly
that
they're
Junior's nickname is Joe Blow for some reason. Well, that's kind of weird, but, you know.
But Curtis is obviously a big fan of the show, which he's referring to the previous show.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to think of a name.
But clearly, they're also every single person on there is instructed. It's in their contract that they have to say the word greenie within 5 words of them starting their comment, and it just drives me nuts in the end. Which otherwise I think is a pretty well done show with some fairly provocative opinions, and it's a landslide better than most of those other two-headed monsters.
All right, Clinker, whatever you say.
Yeah, exactly, K-Dog.
Maybe it's like a Major League Clubhouse, Danny. They're asking for greenies.
Maybe that's it.
That's not it, but sure. Dynamite drop it. I'll take it.
But anyway, some of it's so forced. The only people who escape are people with names that, there's no way you can do it, like Dan Orlovsky or somebody like that, I mean... So S-Pet, let's rock and roll on some other topic.
Yeah, I was just going to say they haven't come up with like Dio.
No, not yet. As far as he's concerned, I pretty much would prefer if he was DOA on that show.
You don't like Orlovsky?
No, I think he's the Skip Bayless of their show. It sucks. I mean, he's really out there to trot out these ridiculous scenarios. For instance, I think he was tasked with naming the 5 best NFL quarterbacks, and I can't remember who finished 6th. Drew Brees, I think. He does stuff like that, and then everybody's up in arms and rolling their eyes, and I'm like, come on. But many of the guests there, Dominique Foxworth, I think, is excellent. Ryan Clark's pretty good. I mean, their NBA people are good. So I do think it's a good show.
By the way, on their IMDb page, Greenberg, a.k.a. Greenie.
Yeah,
we picked that up.
Or Marcus Spears calls him G all the time. Yeah, that Mike Greenberg just screams out that he needs a rapper one-letter name. I mean, come on. Yeah, G, you and I are hanging out. You're my bro. I'm like, come on, please. I mean, these are middle-aged men. Let's get real.
They're keeping it real, Danny.
They are.
No, they're keeping it.
They're just keeping it real.
Keeping it fake. It's kind of funny when buttoned-up Jeff Passan, who I like pretty much on the air, second word every time. Well, Greenie. Hey, Greenie.
Well, Jeff uses people's names when he talks. I mean, that's how he does it. I mean, I think I've noticed him. I think he says, it's just his way of, saying, hey, we're familiar here.
And also, I guess I'm notorious for I don't often use people's names when I'm broadcasting. So it probably to a fault.
Is that because you're kind of an ass, or is
no? It's just like when I did press conferences with coaches, players, whatever, I never said their name first. I don't, they're not my buddy. Hey, Ned, what about that play in the 7th? It's unnecessary. Everybody says
and
it.
Also,
it's almost a way of saying, well, I'm on a first name basis with old Ned.
And also, he knows you're talking to him, so you don't need to alert him.
Right.
If you got 2 college athletes, say, hey, so and so, but I think Ned knows you're talking to him, doesn't he?
Yeah, because since he's the only man sitting there, and the last 7 people have said, "Hey, Ned." So anyway.
You also have a bee in your bonnet about people who call people by their first name if they're a coach. Sometimes you used to have that.
Absolutely. Absolutely, I do.
Don't call not like just the name part, calling them a name, but calling them by their first name you think seems overly familiar.
If they want to go familiar
coach.
and
just say coach,
I'd be all right. Yeah, saying Andy. Hey, Andy.
You don't like that?
No, don't. He's not your He's not your friend. If you're sitting in a one-on-one setting with him, yes, you, Andy Reid, sitting there, 2 headsets, fine.
See,
press conference setting,
coach. It should be if you address the person with a name.
I think in baseball it's harder because I think Skip, you sound like a cheese Richard,
and manager.
How about
sounds dumb.
How about just, hey, in the 7th, why that move? What's wrong with that? Do we need?
I'm with you in the standpoint that I think that particularly accomplished coaches and general managers, which to me, you become accomplished pretty early. It doesn't take much for me to consider you accomplished, right?
Right.
Like Mike Matheny is an accomplished manager. He's never had a losing record. He's going to have one here. But
that streak's coming to an end.
He's never had a losing record. He was a brilliant catcher, right? Defensive catcher, maybe one of the best ever. He had a whole season he didn't have an error. Okay, so the man knows the game of baseball. So, but he also there's also just kind of he also kind of is like call me Mike, right? But I do think I wish they weren't managers, because I call Peter Vermees Peter, but if it was Coach Vermees, I'd call him Coach. Right. But I call him Peter because manager in soccer definitely nobody refers to that. I even asked him as a Final Four once, like, what is in baseball it's skipper, football it's just coach. What is it in soccer? Is it Manny, manager? And he's like, no, I think he kind of hinted around towards skipper. I don't know that he had one, that there really wasn't one. But I'm with you. I do think that you should show some deference to the accomplishments of those that you're talking to. We're asking them questions. Andy Reid isn't quizzing me about anything.
Right.
So he could give a flying fart what I think about anything. Right? So by the very nature of what we're doing, it is he has information that I find valuable and I'm looking to get it. Therefore, he's an authority. Therefore, there should be a level of respect. And I do think it's easy with anyone in football and basketball, it's coach. Right? That's a layup. And in hockey, it's coach. Right? Baseball gets harder because I do think, well, Skip, tell me. And listen, Jeff Flanagan calls him Skip. That works. Jeff Flanagan's been covering clubhouses forever. I don't have a problem with it. I feel like a big D-bag if I'm like, Skip, can you tell me?
Unless his name is Skip.
Yes.
If you're talking to
Skip Holtz,
Skip Holtz.
Okay. Yeah, but then again, it should be Coach. Should be Coach Holtz.
Yeah.
There. He's not a baseball manager. He's a football coach.
Right, yeah.
But no, I am with you. Like with Andy Reid, there are some Andy, are you really, you and Andy, I think you're more coach.
You going out for a donut after the press conference? I don't think so. No, you're not. You're a reporter. You're seeking information. Yeah. He's waiting for your question. Don't waste our time with 2 more syllables.
I like to use the name in the re-intro, so anyone who's tuning in the middle of the interview. That's why.
Yes.
If you listen to the program all the time and you wonder why has Petro told me 6 times who he's talking to? Well, that's the formatics. We're supposed, for someone who just tuned in the middle. If you don't, particularly, Andy Reid, you don't really have to re-intro Andy Reid because everyone in this town knows the voice of Andy Reid, right? There are some people that get to that point, but it's you do it. But I like to get the name in. We're speaking with Peter Vermees, manager of Sporting Kansas City,
and I don't.
And then
do
you
that
can
very
just
well.
ask a question. Yeah, you re-introed it, but Peter also makes it pretty easy.
No, well, he makes
but
everything.
You would do that with
everything
any interview, not just a player or coach.
I do.
Yeah.
I think, but I will say this: me and any other media hump, we're just two media humps swapping theories here. Neither one of us have won anything. Now, if it's Mike Holmgren, who's now an analyst, I will call him coach because he's won a Super Bowl and been there. But if it's, I'm not calling Louis Riddick skipper later today. I'll probably just re-intro him and then say, okay, I want to ask you about blah, 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 blah.
Well, if you follow the Mike Greenberg model, then you just can call him Lou because you because you're buddies with him.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they are buddies.
There's a lot of buddies.
Is there anybody I refer to, Curtis, that Eager's a good friend, Bob Glauber's a good friend, Jason Stark, I've called Bob Bobby sometimes just to make him laugh.
Robert,
Robert,
you've
done that.
Yeah, but you're really friends with those people.
Yeah, but I don't. What I'm saying is I don't go E squared's with us here from Football Focus.
Double E.
Data scientist.
Double E.
Double E.
Easy E. Tenacious E.
Tenacious E. Yeah. And just because someone has accomplishments, I mean, I threw a perfect game in D-League softball, but you don't call me pitch.
I'll stop.
By the way, if you threw a perfect game in D-League softball, that team should have been playing E-League softball.
They should have been. I didn't realize till we got done with my old radio partner Jeremy Wood and I were playing somewhere.
You're joking. You did this happen?
I threw a perfect 5-inning. We spread them, and the last out, we knew we were going to win because it was 5 innings, so we spread them. And I got done, and Jeremy caught the last play. He goes, dude, you just threw a perfect game. Do you realize that? I was like, I did? He goes, yes. No one got on base. I was like, sweet.
Softball.
That team sucks.
How bad was this team?
Wow.
Pretty bad.
Well, also, on top of that, your squad didn't make an error, which is kind of hard on a rock-hard field and all that.
We could pick it.
What are you talking about? I find the softball diamonds to be impeccably manicured.
Never had a ball hit out of the infield. I couldn't hit my slow curve.
Yeah, okay. There it is.
Yeah, I'm
all right.
80 fainter all of a sudden.
Yeah, we'll take a break. More with Danny Clinkscale. Find out what he wants to complain about next here in the program. I do want to ask Danny about what we were talking about in the first hour, about asking the federal government to lay down a law for college athletics. We'll do that next. Danny is brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing, of course, proud sponsor of DannyClinkscale.com as well. Easton Roofing. Residential, commercial roofing, yes, they do it all. One of the fastest growing companies in Kansas City is Easton Roofing. Why? Because with Easton Roofing, integrity matters. 913-257-5426. Find them online at eastonroofing.com.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
We're here with Joe Spiker, the CEO and president of Easton Roofing. What's the difference at this time of year as we head toward the warmer months for homeowners, and what should they be looking at, coronavirus or not?
If you didn't do a good job of home maintenance in the fall, cleaning your gutters out, when we get the spring rains, that can be a real problem. So you want to make sure that you've done a good job on your home maintenance, cleaning your gutters out. We can help with that. I always tell people they never get their roof inspected. They get their furnace inspected once a year, but they never get their roof inspected. And we do the inspection on your roof for free. So you call, you make an appointment, we'll show up, do the inspection. It's free. You should have your roof looked at once a year. Take advantage of us. And most likely you're fine. And if there's a problem, hopefully we can get out in front of it and save you money in the end.
So for any needs that people have right now, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Well, you can always call us, 913-257-5426. But the best way is to go to eastonroofing.com, put your information in, and we'll give you a call.
Easton Roofing. Integrity matters.
You're in the program on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Danny Clinkscale with us. We call it Danny Unleashed. You can check out his great work at DannyClinkscale.com. Danny is brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing. Listen, it rained and rained and rained yesterday. Talking to Joe today, they got like 150-plus calls just from what went on yesterday. 150 plus calls. This is what you're dealing with when you get when you call Easton Roofing. They will have been and visited and assessed each one of those by Tuesday. If you're being told that you got to wait a week, 2 weeks for them to get out, no, that's not the case. Call Easton Roofing right now. Let them get over much quicker and tell you what's going on. 913-257-5426. Most of these calls are basically just going to be leaks and just need repairs that will cost probably less than $750. But it can be a lot worse if you don't get them fixed. They're going to turn around 150 calls in about, 3 business days? 3 business days in a weekend. That's what you get with Easton Roofing. They know how important it is, and they know when it's time, when people got problems, they got to work, and they're not afraid to work hard, and they will work better than anybody else and do the job better than anyone else. Easton Roofing, integrity matters. It matters, and the work you do, it also matters in getting to people and getting those roofs fixed, because it can be big problems. So if you're being told, wait, Don't. Call Easton Roofing at 913-257-5426, online at eastonroofing.com. Danny, how about it? The feds coming in. I know we touched on it just briefly, but we didn't really get into it. I mean, I understand that they've got a problem if 50 different states have 50 different rules, and states are going to start, coming up with rules. Some of them will be wildly more beneficial and make it much more attractive to go to certain schools. I get it. But at some point, isn't capitalism the best win, right? You create the best business, right? And you beat your competitor because you do, Joe does a better job at Easton Roofing. And so he, worked in the roofing business, said, I can do this better. Started his own business, goes out there, gets great jobs, does a great job. More and more people call him. He expands. That's capitalism, right? That's how it's supposed to work. He's one of the fastest growing companies around. It's not supposed to be that you come out, do a crappy job, and then look to get bailed out. And I don't understand, why. Look, if the game is going to be out of whack for a little while, that's capitalism taking care of itself. And you'll get it done quicker if you don't prop it up, if you force them to work together and find the right solution amongst these schools. They had that for many years. It was the NCAA. But they didn't like when the NCAA would try to bring them in check. They didn't like sharing their revenues. So now what they've got to do is break away if that's what you're going to do. Stop talking. They clearly talk to every college writer out there, because every so often they all write, well, it's coming. They're all talking about breaking away. All right, you cowards, then do it and come up with a governing body and the rules, and let's go.
Well, it's such a complicated time right now, and when you get politics involved, these people want to go back to their constituents and say, look, I was fighting for Old State U. And, because this was going to be an unbalanced landscape, or everybody's is in it for their own thing. The only real solution to what's going on right now that's going to be satisfactory to me is if we do go to a club model. This is all about fighting to keep the very best athletes still going to play college sports. Right. And until the pro leagues and the Power Five or the NCAA or whatever entities are there can get together and realize that it's in their, everybody's best interest to have transparency, some kind of honesty, some kind of integrity, that you allow people to seek their dreams when they reach a determined age, whether you think it's, 15 for girls and 17, 14 for boys, whatever it is. In tennis, they have rules for it. But And then you have college sports that isn't dealing with image and likeness or how much should these guys make in compensation, because they're going to college to get a good deal on an expensive education and beautiful digs and first-class hotels and everything else, which would still be there. So I don't have a really great answer about where this is headed, but in general, yes, I think that capitalism is a system that works in most cases, but usually needs regulation of some sort.
Right.
So it's very complicated, and it's completely messed up, basically by the NBA and the NHL, who won't embrace full-blown minor league systems.
Wait, the NBA and NHL or the NBA and NFL?
I mean, the NHL and NFL, I meant. Sorry.
NBA and NFL.
Yeah. There is a extensive minor league in the NHL.
Yes, because you
bad.
said NH.
Yeah.
You started down.
I meant MLB. MLB. My bad.
Yeah. MLB and NHL have minor leagues.
Yes. And if there isn't that much incentive for the NFL, obviously, to do it, and the NBA, but the NBA is a whole lot closer to it. And if we just got to that, the handful of athletes who are good enough to go out or sign at a teenage level, and maybe by age 21 it didn't work, but at least they got some money out of it, and they could actually go to school then and maybe participate. Olympic gymnasts go back to college and actually participate in college gymnastics after they go and win gold medals. I mean, because they're so young when they're achieving the first part. So there are models out there for it, but it's so different in this country that I don't know if we're ever going to embrace it, which creates problem after problem after problem.
No, I know it is, and it's just to me it's the hypocrisy that's so amazing that's out there. Danny, always great talking to you, buddy. I appreciate it. Stay safe. Have yourself a great weekend. We'll do it again next week.
Sounds good. DannyClinkskill.com.
DannyClinkskill.com. Brought to you, Danny is, by our friends at Easton Roofing, EastonRoofing.com.
This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like
Easton Roofing, the presenting sponsor of Kansas City Profiles at the Danny Klink Scale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Easton Roofing, where integrity matters.
We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Klink Scale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new.